so much for joining us for Boss Live. I'm April Bragg with the Robbins Regional Chamber, sometimes better known as the Robbins To Go lady. But thank you guys so much for joining us for this timely and important discussion around the Facebook outage on Monday and the challenges of putting your eggs in one basket. How can we foster and nurture engagement with our customers, the community, prospect, and others if we can only use the tools that are available through social media and haven't spent the time investing and developing the tools we need and on our own platforms in order to be successful? So I sent out a bat signal on Monday night, sent an email message to our members, and then shared, of course, in Robbins To Go, like, what the heck happened, guys? And gave a little bit of a cautionary tale for you all. I am so thankful this morning to be joined by some of the best marketing brains I know in the Robbins region. We've got a panel full of marketing experts, and we've got are launching an entire series or a series of programs dedicated to focusing on the resources for marketing, brand, and communication that we know our small businesses need. A lot of these will be member focused, and I had a fantastic 5-minute video explaining to you guys my experience on Monday, getting kicked off of Facebook for the very first time, which I'm going to save for just a few minutes. So you'll get to hear it now, and then I'm going to throw that video in Robbins To Go after the fact when we finish this. So I'm going to bring on our panel now and let you guys meet the team that we've got together to basically solve the world's problems today. So here we go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just going to go around the clock and let everybody introduce themselves. So Pauline, we're going to start with you.
Well, hello, my name is Pauline Magnuson, and I am with Cultivated Copy. And so what I do with small businesses is strategize, plan, and write emails that nurture leads, chop your churn, and cultivate your conversions.
Email works. Pauline, who knew? Who knew? Nick knew. Nick, introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody, good morning. And April, thank you for having us on this morning. My name is Nick Rios. I'm with M&R Marketing Agency, and we're based here in Middle Georgia. We serve small and medium-sized businesses, and we're a full-service agency. So everything that happened on Monday definitely had an effect on several of our clients.
For sure. All right, Daphne, we're going to go Brady Bunch style down to you, and then we'll catch Ashley and Chrissy.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Daphne Register. I'm the owner and creative strategist of IDAP Marketing. We are also a full service marketing agency located in Warner Robins, Georgia. And our basic thing is that we turn your vision into reality, whether that is through, social media, video marketing, website design, graphic design. We do it all. And we're just here to basically help you with your creative ideas and get them out. We service a lot of small businesses as our focus, and that's what we do.
Awesome.
And I'm Ashley James. I'm the owner of Mini Dixie Donuts. I feel like you have to smile when you say donuts. It's part of it. But I also do all of our social media and stuff too. So what happened on Monday, it was, of course, a big part of what I do. I almost thought, like, what do I do today after I get done making donuts? But yeah, I appreciate you, April, for letting me be a part of this.
Awesome. And batting cleanup.
I get the fun opportunity to follow donuts. So thank you, Ashley, for making me hungry, but thank you, April, and your team for putting this on. I think this is a great value added for your stakeholders and for the community. I'm Chrissy Miner, the Miner Agency, and we are, have an echo, but we're focused on total business services. So marketing is definitely one of our portfolios, but we have a very strong presence in public relations as well. So marketing, PR, and some government relations. And of course, the Facebook outage certainly impacted us as well, but it's been fun to kind of see how everything surrounding Facebook this week is evolving. And like always, April, you're at the forefront of charging the hill with how do we tackle this? So look forward to this great discussion.
Awesome. Yeah. And, I want to just say before I jump into our first question, I'm sure a lot of people watching and a lot of people that maybe aren't familiar with what the chamber is, how we work, and, just how we interact and the benefits that we provide may not realize that, it's rare that I get all of you people in a room together, if I'm just being totally honest. But what you see around your screen from wherever you're watching is community, not competition. So these are all marketing geniuses that I have assembled here together, and they're all here not only to provide willingly their insight, their perspective, and their expertise for you guys. They're saying it in front of their peers. And I hope just as much as I am here today to share information, but also to learn and to take away. And, because I know that we can all benefit from the unique perspective that each individual brings to the table. So I'm so excited to see you all and to really just dive in. So on Monday, so I'm going to give my little story, and then Nick, I'm going to ask you what the heck happened and just get your perspective, because you probably have the biggest client list of anybody on the call. But Ken McCall, I'm calling you out. So Ken, I was posting a happy birthday message to you when Facebook would not accept my comment. And I'm like, that's preposterous. I'm the most pleasant and happiest person on Facebook. I am wishing Facebook to one of the most awesome humans in the Robbins region, and Facebook is censoring me? I don't think so. So I had a little moment here, and thankfully Arlie was able to calm me down, because if they blocked Arlie, clearly there's an outage. There's something going on. So Nick, I know you don't work for Facebook, and you probably don't know all the ins and outs of exactly what happened, but just kind of share from your perspective, not only, right, the initial, oh my gosh, Facebook and Instagram are down, what do we do? But what in the industry were you kind of seeing? What were you hearing from your clients? And kind of describe some of those emotions and things that you guys went through with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an interesting time. I was working at my desk right here, and I got a phone call from one of my team members, and I'm working and I'm talking on the phone, which happens a lot, and she's talking to me, and I hear something about Facebook, and I hear something about Instagram, and I hear the word down, and I'm like, wait, what did you just say? And she was like, Nick, it's down everywhere. And I said, what do you mean by everywhere? Like, we just can't get on right now? And she was like, Nick, it says it's down worldwide. And I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. And so I think it took a few minutes for that just to process. And I hopped online, I started researching, and sure enough, multiple news agencies were already covering it. And all of Facebook's online properties were down. So, you had Facebook, you had Instagram, you had WhatsApp. I think they have one called Oculus that was down, and it was down across the world. And for something like that to happen is pretty big. And I believe on the technical side, there were some routing issues. A lot of records got deleted that caused their whole platform to go down. So the first thing that came to mind is, well, I got to call my business partner, Matthew. We got to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And if we learned anything in COVID, it's how do you pivot? When things start to crash and everything starts to change and all the things that seem normal are no longer normal, you have to start thinking through, how do we pivot in this situation? And, I had to kind of talk to myself mentally. It's like, okay, in these situations, you cannot panic. You have to remain calm and just start to slowly process through it. And so the first thing that Matthew and I talked about was really just, what does our communication to our clients look like? At what point do we need to start communicating to them to let them know that we're apprised of the situation and that we're monitoring the situation? And I was talking to Matthew, and I was like, hey, Matthew, we need to get our digital team to get some social messaging ready to post. And I'm like, wait,
where are you going to post them?
There's nowhere to post it.
Yes, TikTok video, Facebook is down.
And so it just shows you how like deeply entrenched like this idea of just having regular access to these platforms is. And then as I started processing it, there was just a little bit of like a really bad part inside of me that was a little bit happy, like, wait, they can mess up too. Like nobody's
Yes.
perfect. Like you have this huge company with hundreds of engineers and developers and they went down.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as 100% uptime. So, but yeah, we just kind of processed through it and determined that, hey, we're not going to panic everybody if people don't know about it yet.
They know.
We
have one of these. They know.
So we kind of laid out a strategy as to, at what point we would start rolling out communication. And for us, luckily, we have emails for everybody.
Yep.
And, we started planning how we would email out communications, just letting people know what was going on and letting them know that we'd be monitoring it. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
And we were kind of in the same boat. We managed this little group on Facebook called Robins to Go with about 23,000 local community business supporting enthusiasts. And I was like, oh, we need to put like an out of order or, like temporarily closed kind of sign just to be cute. You can't do that. And in the email I sent out Monday night, I reminded people, you guys, totally dating myself here, but like MySpace was the place not all that long ago. And I know some of my panelists can relate to that and remember those times. And I am still a little upset that I can't change my wallpaper and the flair, the pieces of flair from the early days of Facebook, even like, it all evolves and there's all an evolution, but thinking through from a business strategy, the things that you can control on your own platforms. Nick mentioned like email. So Daphne, I'm going to kick to you. And then any of the panelists, if you want to chime in on a follow-up, please unmute yourself and we'll let you chime in. But Daphne, this was obviously a wake-up call. So just from a tactical standpoint, what in your mind is a call to action that this outage has reminded us of in this time? And then how do businesses, what is a baby step that businesses can take today in order to become maybe a little less reliant on Facebook and Instagram, or have more than one channel that they're utilizing to communicate with their customers, with prospects, with their vendors, with everybody else that they need to get a message out to?
Oh, that's a big question, April. So I won't answer the whole question. I'll let other people answer, but I'll answer the bulk of it. So the first thing that I would have to say, that call to action is basically you have to have other digital marketing strategies, or well, we're speaking of digital, but you have to just have other marketing strategies in general. And then so let's go back to that digital part. So it's not just social media. Digital marketing entails, you have email marketing. You have your website, you have your SEO, all the things that go along with that, PPC. And so those are other strategies that you can use that sometimes can be a little costly, but can also be manageable for small business and big business. First thing I thought about was in terms of just making sure that you actually have a website. I mean, it sounds trivial, but it's the truth. Like you have a website, and through that website, whether it's a full-blown website or a landing page, you're having that call to action kind of that you just mentioned, where you're asking people to email you or do things so that you can still contact them. So you're collecting those email addresses so that you can still, do email marketing blasts to your people or send SMS messages so that you can, still contact them. And people can still actually go and see what you offer outside of, you posting everything on your Facebook or your Instagram. And, you can still, your website still should contain, videos and pictures and of course your services and what you offer. So that's, a main portion of it that I wanted, to mention the first thing, because I thought about, some of my clients, and some of them don't have websites and
they don't think they need them because we have Facebook, Daphne, and you know, or I don't do online sales, or I don't, you know, all of these things. But like you mentioned, just a basic landing page, a
Right.
place where you can update, hey, we're still open, even though Facebook isn't, you know, or if there's any changes in your hours or your services or things like that. You've got to have some kind of presence out there.
And the last thing I want to mention, I think we'll talk a little bit about this more as well, but just having that Google business profile or
Yes.
even other, industry directories where you can put your information so people can still find you. So that whole Google business profile is amazing, because a lot of times people don't realize everything is there. You can even build your website in Google and it'd be free, but then you connect the domain to it later. So, I mean, everything really, that you need is also there, because then from there you can do ads and, PPC and all of that. But I'll let somebody else talk as well. But, those are things that, people don't look at, and you should.
Absolutely. Well, you hit on email marketing, and I know that's Pauline's area of specialty, and she has unmuted. So, Pauline, what are you going to share?
Well, just, tagging on what Daphne and Nick started with, and I know that Chrissy also has a wealth of experience with, various forms of text-based communication. But really, what we're talking about, these were best practices before Facebook went down. And so, had Nick and Daphne not had ways to contact their people, they would have been kind of, up the proverbial creek. But, by having these other ways to reach people, and it might be, you might start as simply as having a QR code at your place of business where, and you incentivize, people to go ahead and add themselves to your email list via your website, your own digital real estate, not just Facebook's digital real estate. But you also want to be super intentional about providing value via that channel that you're not providing in other channels. Give people a reason to want to be on your email list, and don't just have it be the same thing that goes out in your other channels. But someone like Ashley, you think, okay, why does a donut shop need, an email list, or, who's going to email about donut promotions? Well, hey, if I had gotten a text or an email on Monday that said Facebook's down, donuts cheer you up, I might have gotten my sugar blast there. So there are creative ways that you can leverage situations if you've thought ahead and have those other means to communicate with people.
Yeah, 100%. And Ashley, I want to get your take on this, because I know as a small business owner, a number of, point of sale, equipment, whatever we're going to call it, they will collect cell phone numbers. I mean, you input your number, to email me my receipt or to text me my receipt. And you guys utilize ways like that to communicate with your customers beyond just what you do on social. And might I add, you need to follow Ashley and Mini Dixie Donuts on TikTok. I'm going to need some tutorials, because I'm very familiar. I go down the TikTok rabbit hole, but the content side still scares me a little bit. So Ashley, as a small business owner, how important is it for you to capture this information? What ways are you doing it? And then maybe share some other ways that you're connecting with your customers and others.
Thank you. Square, the point of sale system that we use, as you mentioned, captures email addresses, phone numbers. That's a super great way to connect with customers. And I do want to touch on what Daphne said about Google Business. This affected mine because we recently moved to Russell Parkway, and I'm on top of Yelp, Google, social media, our website, like the whole thing. And Google was sending a postcard to our new address to verify Russell Parkway. Well, we weren't getting it. They sent it like 3 or 4 times. I had no trouble at our Watson address. Well, long story short, I had multiple customers calling. It says you're on Watson Boulevard.
Oh, wow. Well, you're across from the post office, but I digress.
Yeah. And my very first thought was, they're looking at Google, even though we know where we're going and we explain where we're going, a customer is typing it in on their phone, hitting maps, and they're trying to, be taken to Watson Boulevard. So immediately on the phone with Google, I was actually out there by FaceTime, showing them the road, showing them the business, my logo on my shirt, to prove to them, who we were. And it was a process. So Google is so important. I tell people that all the time, making sure that your presence is there, making sure it's accurate and updated, and your hours and days that you're open and all too. People really look at that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And I want to park for just a second on Google. So I'm hopeful, but not super optimistic. My friend Deming Bask from Google was going to join us today and has a presentation he had to make. So his substitute may be joining us any minute. But we had been talking about working through and offering small business marketing with Google for our members. And that I can't stress, as Daphne pointed out, stress enough, get on Google. I mean, it literally is your phone book. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Doug Rankin with Apex. I asked several small business owners to do videos that we're gonna supply as bonus material for kind of what they're doing, how they're capturing information, how they're using that information in ways that they're able to market in the tools that they use. And Doug did a great job of comparing all of the different media channels that we use now to traditional media. But if all else fails and you don't take anything else away from this, please, please, please go claim your domain on Google. Look for the verification postcard. Make sure you get that and do what they ask. But it really does give you a 360 view of your business. And I'm going to give a shout out. I see both Brandon and Kelly from Mr. Ceiling Fan. I don't know anybody who is asking for and successfully pulling through reviews the way that these guys do. Every single interaction with them, oh, give us a review on Google, on Facebook, on whatever. They're giving you a shout out. They're shouting out to other local businesses and killing that game. So Chrissy, I want to kick to you. And you know, we've talked about a few different strategies. You guys are in addition to digital marketing, you know, also working in PR and just the general communication and kind of back to old school basics on marketing. Share with us, if you can, in your own words, kind of the importance of having those diversified ways that we're getting our message out.
Thank you, April, and agree. Definitely, you know, Nick and Daphne, they pointed out exactly, you know, the great marketing tactics and things that you need to focus on. And, you know, admittedly, in the military, I'm a PR person. So that's my blood, right? And so that's the personal relationships that as a business, and I wish I had my prop this morning. So I went to Starbucks. And on my Starbucks cup, and I have it out there, but I know you won't let me walk away, but it says, "Hey, Chrissy," and it has a heart on it, right? And that just brought a little joy to my day, right? Like, aw, you know, that's probably Amanda making my drink, and she knows me, and it means that I spend way too much money at Starbucks, but that's a different topic. But that little Sharpie, you know, welcome, Chrissy, you know, or hey, Chrissy, good morning. Wow, did I take away something with that, right? So how does that tie to all this madness with Facebook and your digital? Because you should really focus as a business owner, one, on plans. So let me see, I keep drinking my coffee mug and plugging the Air National Guard. Because, you know, what's the military do? We're planners, right? And we plan. So Daphne and Nick are going to tell you, you need a plan. You know, no matter what, you need a crisis plan. And as evidenced by just what happened, you know, you need that marketing mix plan. You also need your PR plan and crisis communications. When things go bad, right? What is your messaging and how are you getting to your audience? You know, break up, look at your entire enterprise, large to small, and figure out your groupings and your audience and segment your groups, right? And then figure out how do you communicate to those folks. And you can't have, you know, April said, all your eggs in one basket. She might not have said it this morning, but she said it many times. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. And if you have some great established interpersonal communication and planning for that, that's going to help you when things go wrong. You know, you can refer to, all right, what do we do? You know, what's next? And that's why we're the greatest fighting force in the world, because we got plans for everything.
Yes.
And anything that goes wrong. And so PR is such a big part of that, and the crisis communication piece. How are you going to get to those critical stakeholders when things go bad?
Yeah. And let me just say from personal experience through the pandemic, you don't want to learn that you're good at crisis communication in a crisis. I learned that we kind of rock at it. And I mean, even just the open rates on the hashtag Facebook down is trending email that I sent out at 9 o'clock on Monday night. That's when your people are paying attention to you. So even when it feels like, why am I doing this? I don't have all the facts. Doing something is better than doing nothing. And as I've said numerous times, when it comes to, our plan for the pandemic, nothing could have prepared us for the 18 months that was ahead of us, but not doing wasn't an option. And so whatever it is in your business, if this sounds scary to develop a marketing plan, or if it sounds expensive, it really doesn't have to be. And Pauline, I know this is a personal, it's near and dear to your heart. And so, and you're unmuted, so I'm going to let you go. And then Nick, I want you to chime in as well.
Just two things that Chrissy just mentioned really stand out, and it's that relationship building, as well as she used a word called segmenting. And
yes, one message doesn't work for everybody.
I know. Here's my shocked face. But you learn that through your relationship building, who your audience is, and who the specific groups within your audience are. And you learn what the needs are. You learn how to serve the needs that exist in each smaller group of your audience. And, with respect to what I love with email marketing, you can develop a message that resonates stronger with specific groups of, within your audience. But it's really about learning how to identify and meet needs and build relationships, more than any marketing speak or anything like that. It's about learning to see people, to identify their needs, and how you can help meet those needs. And segmenting is kind of the fancy word for how you do that, but that's really what it's about: learning how to speak in a way that each part of your audience can hear, that resonates with them.
Absolutely. Nick, you got something to add?
I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% in line with everything that everybody is saying. And the one thing that came to mind, because putting a strategy and a marketing strategy and understanding your audience, like Chrissy was talking about, and how to communicate to your different target markets is so important. But I know as a business owner, what so many business owners out there are probably thinking: I have zero time.
Yeah.
There's this, I am inundated. Yeah. I mean, I am inundated with having to solve different issues. I'm answering questions over here from my team and over here from clients. And, oh, by the way, this thing just broke and now I got to fix it. Or,
and we sponsor my daughter's dance team.
Right. It's just, there are so many hours in a day and so many days in a week, and it's like there's just not enough time to do these things that, yes, you hear people talking about them. It's like, hey, they sound great, but how am I going to find the time?
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir. I mean, we have been an agency for 12 years, and
one of the fastest growing companies, by the way, just saying.
Thank you.
Recent recognition for that.
And it has only been over the past maybe 3 or 4 years that we have had a full-fledged marketing plan for us. I mean, we were the shoe cobbler whose kids didn't have shoes. I mean, essentially. And, but it took us really understanding that we had to step out of the business to think about the business.
Yes.
And I can tell every business owner out there, as hard as it seems, it truly is worth it. Yeah. You have to be able to carve out some time to step out, and you have to leave your business. You cannot try and do this in the business.
Yes. By my phone and by my computer, yes. And by my coworkers. And
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You have to be removed from it so you're not distracted, so you can have some set aside time to truly think about it. And it, even outside of marketing, there's other things in your business that you need to think about and try to create solutions around that it's impossible to do when you're sitting in it. And so my encouragement to any business owner who's listening and watching right now is to know that it is worth it. You know, as much time as you can carve out, it is definitely worth it to be proactive instead of reactive, which is really what we're talking about. It's how much time are we giving to being in a proactive state instead of 100% reactive.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Well,
worth it.
It's so important and timely too, Nick, because, you know, none of us imagined when the pandemic hit our area that it was going to drag on as long as it has. But the number of businesses that we talk to and that we see in action that had waited to start selling online, had waited to offering delivery, that now just, okay, I got to do it. Let this be a wake-up call. We are not sounding the alarm. This is not a pandemic, knock on wood, with Facebook's outage. But if your eggs are all in that basket, business owners, that is what we are here to do, is to let you know, one, you're not alone, but also there are resources. There are free resources, there are affordable resources, and there are resources that can literally do what 2 or 3 employees can't do through automation, which that seems to be a very scary term to a lot of people, but automation can be personal. And so, Daphne, I want to kick to you because I know you work with a lot of small businesses, a lot of very small and emerging businesses, solopreneurs, people who are, it's their side hustle or what, I mean, just all different, types and profiles of small businesses. What is one actionable step that a small business owner can do today? What is something they can do today to start creating a plan, to start a process of not being solely reliant on the social media platforms that are under the Facebook umbrella?
Well, we really essentially have all kind of just, given points of things that they can do, but I would have to add on to kind of what Nick was saying, but you've got to step back and you've got to look at your business as a whole. And a lot of times what I'm telling a lot of people who are starting businesses and doing things, make sure you know your why and start with a clear mission, vision, and where you want to go with your business. Because a lot of times I'm dealing with people who, of course, you want to go ahead and start, and you want to go ahead and just get out there and do things, but you've got to have that plan. Because if not, then you're going to end up having to go back and put that plan together. But I just wanted to add that into what he was saying. But a place where you can start today is, and I keep saying this, but the landing page or the website.
Yes.
I keep mentioning that because again, I'm constantly saying that to my clients and people that I know. That is just a place to start, to put all of your information about who you are, why you do what you do, telling your story, ways to again gain your clients, and you can put everything there. Your social media can be there because you're taking them to go other places to find out about you. But I would just have to say that piece of getting that landing page or getting that website so that you can have all of your information in a space. There was one other thing I had made a note that I was going to, and I lost the note that I was going to look at. Good. Okay, this is what I was going to say. So
Okay.
we were going to add this, I guess, going back to the whole Google thing, but I like to tell people to know your keywords for your business and what you do.
Yes.
A lot of times it's hard for people to realize, how people can find them if you really don't know yourself. A lot of times we know how to do what it is that we do, but we don't know how to actually, relate that or tell that to the masses. So you need to make sure that you understand exactly what it is you do and those keywords so that you can, make sure that you're putting that into your SEO and using those words so people can find you outside of social media. And somebody else can jump in on that, but that's very important.
Well, and I want to piggyback on that and then throw it to Ashley to talk a little bit more. So keywords are so important. And another thing with keywords, not just on Google, is making sure that your business is added to multiple local directories. So chamber members get to leverage the high visibility and traffic of our chamber website because our member directory lives on there. So while people may be registering for an event or whatever, we have really high SEO. We have really high rankings on Google. When you search our community, we're in the top 3 results in just about any way that you can search it. But by default, a lot of our member pages will show up before they actually show up on our page, and so it's very beneficial. And Ashley, you mentioned Yelp, and there are others. So depending on your business sector or your business type, there are other places that you want to make sure that your business is out there, and not only that you're out there, but that you're asking for reviews and getting positive reviews so you can make sure. Gracie Rigby, she's out of the country, but she's sending me a video on reviews because they got a 1-star review from somebody that said, never been. And she uses that as a marketing strategy and a reminder to all of us that you're always going to have those people that are going to say something just totally stupid or that are going to have a bad experience and share it with the whole world. But making sure that those customers that have those memorable experiences with you are taking the time. And that's one of the things I encourage our community members to do all the time in Robins to Go. Review your favorite local businesses because it really does help with SEO. It helps with your visibility online. Ashley, what have you seen? I know you've had some fantastic reviews. You've had some trolls. What do you value as the importance of being on those directories and in those different platforms, and then the review piece as well? And Nick's unmuted, which means we've got more goodness coming from him.
We received a review just kind of like what Gracie did, where someone had not visited and they gave us a low star but said donuts were pretty good, haven't been. And I thought, well, this is a way, I mean, just like Nick said, as business owners, we all want more time. I want to spend more time on my website, more time creating new content, and trying to find time to touch all those pieces. Sometimes it just feels like it's never ending, but just making time for certain things like responding to those reviews. I use it as an opportunity to say, hey, why don't you check us out so that you can have in so many words, your own experience with our donuts and visiting us and giving us that opportunity. And just like I mentioned earlier, I use Google a lot. I think it's quick to jump on there. For some things, don't self-diagnose yourself because that takes you down another road. But in terms of businesses, like people do look at that stuff. They look at your responses to reviews. They look at your reviews, and those are things that, they truly do make a difference.
Absolutely. And Nick, will you share some of those tips? I know you unmuted for a reason, so I'll let you talk about that. But some of those additional directories that are absolutely free for people to get their business listed in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot. I mean, you got your top ones, Google, Yahoo, and Bing. You got Yelp, Hot Frog. Usually when we're working with a company on their listings or their directories, we're looking at about 60 to 70 different online directories, all of which are, free for the most part, and you can have your business's information and accurate, correct information across all of them listed. When I was looking at the comments, and we've been talking about it a little bit, and April, I think you gave a shout out on one of the comments. Marcia talked about researching and data.
Yes.
And it made me think, especially with, as a follow-up to what Daphne was saying, it is so important to have research and to have data that is driving your marketing decisions. And then it also reminded me that a great resource for that is your current customer base. You will be, when we have done surveys and focus groups for different universities and businesses on their customer base and the people who are already with them as an organization or entity, you find out so many things that will blow your mind. You think they're in this place and this place, and you think they're using these social channels, or they're listening to this radio station or this TV, or they're watching these shows. But when you dive in and you start discovering, hey, where is my customer base? where are they going when they have nothing to do? What do they find entertaining, or what do they find important? What resonates with them? Sometimes it'll really surprise you, and that is golden information, because that's the key. The key is to, just like everybody's been saying, it's to know who you are, know your story, know your target market, develop messaging that speaks to them, but also, well, how do I get in front of them?
Yeah.
And sometimes the best way is to ask them. Go to your customers and talk to them about where they are, and figure out how you can dive into those different channels to get in front of them.
Absolutely. And I've got a quick word of encouragement too, because a lot of the things that we're discussing, obviously have kind of a mass scale, right? I mean, it's our approach to communicating with everybody. But Garth Polachek was one of the businesses that I got to do a video, and I jokingly started a hashtag called Where's Garth, because Garth has a very personal style. He is going out and physically meeting with individuals that meet the client profile that he knows he's going to have success with. He's also taking an opportunity when he goes out to lunch, or when he's out picking up his boots from repair, to make sure that he's seen as an influencer, seen as someone who's sharing love for other local businesses in the community. And he's positioning himself as a trusted resource. And so, to your point, Nick, like, we don't have to, the data is going to tell us, our customers are going to tell us, but positioning yourself, it can be as small as personal interactions. And I know, Chrissy, you hit on this just a minute ago. What have you got to add to that?
Yeah, so perfect example of public relations, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
winning the hearts and minds. And exactly what Nick said, the importance there of having a good plan, executing that plan. The directories, super important as well. And I'm ADD, so I completely lost my thought, but I had a really good thought, and it'll come back to me at some point, but it is gone with the wind. But to piggyback again, that PR is so important when you're dealing with your customers. That's what it was. Facebook.
There you go.
Circling back to Facebook.
Squirrel.
Everybody should know. Most people know, or they might not. That's why these social networks have been so successful, because the algorithms that they build, they have a profile on each and every one of us. They know who we like, what we like, our interests, what we do. Do we have kids? They have built a profile on each and every Facebook member. And that's how they tailor that content to you, right? And so that's obviously on a mass scale, right? And you can dig into the settings of Facebook and find out what they think you are. And sometimes they're wrong and sometimes they're right? Everything from political leanings to you name it, they have a profile for you. So as a business, depending on, again, doesn't matter what size you are, you should really make that effort, as Nick pointed out, to get that demographic of your customer and figure out as much as you can, because that's only going to help your marketing efforts.
Awesome. So we have talked about a number of times the importance of having your own real estate, of having your own website. What are some, and we'll just go round robin, what are some very tactical and practical ways that the people listening to this can drive traffic to their websites now? And I use now as in relative future. Pauline.
Well, I mean, the easiest one, especially for local brick and mortars, is have a QR code at your place of business, and encourage folks, talk to people, ask people. We talked about calls to action earlier. A call to action is simply, hey, go ahead and, scan our QR code and, add yourself to our mailing list. Our best coupons, come there, or something like that. But just real simple, and say what you want people to do. Whether it's in your email, whether you're talking to them, just tell them very simply, here's what you can do,
I love it. And Annie Kilco at Southern Crush Boutique is killing it with these, both in her emails and her text. They even have an app now. Got a great video from her on how they're driving some of that traffic. Nick, what's your tactical, practical tip?
Yeah, just QR codes, and just put it everywhere. Just link to it everywhere. Anytime you have some form of promotion, whether it be on social or in your e-newsletters, or at your place of business with QR codes that are easy, just place it everywhere and make sure you spend time thinking through what's on your website. You have a matter of seconds to get somebody's attention as soon as they land on that website. And so it has to be interesting. You have to spend time thinking about the content. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the content on your website is more difficult than the design. It takes more time and it's harder to figure out to really write and create well thought through content.
100%. Yeah. Daphne, anything along that, driving traffic to your site and or getting people to sign up for SMS, text messaging, and or your email list that hasn't already been covered?
So the first thing I was going to think about when I was thinking about the whole thing is, of course, incentive. So of course there's that, giveaways, promotions, contests, people want, incentive to do these things. I know sometimes, we were all working within a budget and, things of that nature, but
10% off ain't never hurt anybody.
yeah. So, if you can provide incentive that has people to, want to do things. But just to go along with kind of everything else that we were saying, one thing I always tell my clients is, as a business owner, don't be scared to try something. A lot of times, we're nervous. We don't know how the people will react to it, or our clients, our fan base, whomever. But this is the thing. You try it. If it doesn't work, don't try it again. Do something else. What if it does work? So a lot, and I think especially in the times we live in, you can't be scared as a business owner to actually try it. Maybe someone else wasn't successful doing it, but you haven't done it. So try it. So whether that be, whatever it may be, I always say that, just try it, especially. And then Nick took exactly what I was going to say. The content on your website is important. The layout of it, what's there, is important, because, you don't want people to have to really scroll all the way down, to the
Find
bottom.
your phone number.
To find your phone number, and making sure the information on it is updated. And then when people actually do go to your website or do whatever, answer the phone, answer the email, do things like that. I mean, that's one of the things I just, I thought about. And as a small business owner, sometimes I have to remind myself of that. If I have to, if the person that works with me is not here, I transfer those calls so that I can, if I have to run out, I can answer those calls, because people, they're going to Google, they're getting your number, they want to contact you, they're going to your website, they want to, email you. So make sure that you're responsive.
Absolutely. And I'm just highlighted a comment here that we got that hit on that. Highlighting just the important. You don't have to be big. You don't have to be to provide, to answer the phone. You can get a virtual assistant for $300 a month. That's basically an answering service that will answer April Bragg's hair salon. This is Nikki. How can I help? She may not be able to tell you anything beyond that, other than April will call you back because she's doing somebody's hair. It's still that personal connection, and I feel heard and seen in that moment. So Ashley, take it away. What's your tactical, practical tip?
I think for me, it's not so much the tip to drive traffic to it, but the content, as you guys were saying. And one thing I think is extremely important is for people to know who you are, you personally as a business owner. When I go somewhere, a lot of times I'm not known as Ashley James. I'm known as the Donut Lady, whether they saw it on the website or something on social media, things through the chamber, things like that. And I tell all business owners, like, before owning a business, you would never see me in front of this camera. I mean, I remember classes in college, especially public speaking, where, I'd rather just fall out and die than have to do that. But it's important. It's important for people to see who you are and connect with you and know your name and your face and what your business is, and even what your interests are and things like that. I mean, people want to feel connected to you now more than ever. I think it's really important.
Absolutely. And I want to piggyback on that. So in the beginning, when we set up Robins to Go, most of you saw way too much of my face, and I apologize for that. But I do think it built a lot of endearment, not only to me personally, but people want to interact with people, not pages. So when you are on social and when you are responding to an email, instead of responding from info@robinsregion.com, it's my name. Like, you're getting me. I'm going to sign my name. If I have to like reel people in or bring people into line or have a come to Jesus meeting on Facebook, the Robbins Regional Chamber page isn't the one doing it. It's April Bragg. And so the hopefully by then the intent, the spirit it's coming from, that I want the best for you and your business, but we ain't gonna have that kind of stuff in our group. But in the beginning, even though we had it set up to allow pages weren't allowable by Facebook for whatever reason until like the last 2 months. And I'm going to tell you, it's amazing. I first knew Kathy at Props because she's Kathy. And that's how we met online, like that. We met online before we met in person. And I think that personalization, whether it's in the personal message and targeting of Chrissy, in her example with the algorithms, or if it's the personal in our responses when there is a customer service need to be addressed or whatever. I got us off track too as well, Chrissy. So whatever you want to chime in with now, take it away. Uh-oh, is she frozen? Oh, she is frozen with fear that I gave her no topic. I'm just kidding. Chrissy, you give her a time limit and a topic and she can talk about anything. So we are approaching the end of this hour. And I know there are a million things we could cover, but we just don't have the time. And as I said, we plan to carry this on. I'd love to do another one of these with just small business owners who aren't marketing professionals, to talk about some of their strategies. So if we can do one more kind of around the room of just one more thing we haven't talked about that should be, people should at least have a general awareness of as they are looking for next steps to diversify their marketing, to diversify their branding and communication beyond Facebook and their various platforms. Pauline.
As people jump into email marketing, of course, you want to be personal. You want to be personal and personable. And I think you kind of hit on that. And, you mentioned the word automation, which, kind of raises fears of, oh, am I going to write this thing that is sort of mass produced and goes out to a crowd and doesn't have the personal feel. A low cost thing for small businesses, maybe just starting out, something easy and actionable that you can do is, quite frankly, you probably have some great marketing research in your own email inbox. Take a look at the emails that you want to open and take a look at the emails that you delete without even opening. Pull them up and take a look, say, what's similar about the ones that I want to read, what's different about the ones I don't want to read. And that'll give you actually just some great tips that you can use right away as you begin working on the kinds of emails that you want to send out, because you want to send emails people actually want to read as well.
I love it. Nick, over to you.
Yeah, I would really just reiterate some of the things that have already been said. Doing social giveaways is a great way to increase your emails. Having it so that to enter into a giveaway, they submit their email. It's a good way to kind of build your audience there. And then just like Pauline was saying, with emails, as you begin communicating through emails, really thinking about what's interesting for your audience. I feel like so oftentimes we're so tied to just what we want to say about our business, when really we should be thinking about, yes, what do we need to say about our business, but what is most important to the audience? And oftentimes when you're doing these regular emails, it needs to be more of a resource and less of you just constantly talking about your business. But how can I actually be a partner and a resource with the people who I'm sending this to, and thinking about what's interesting for them? So
100%. Daphne.
Okay, so two things that I was going to mention. So just to kind of go along with what Nick was saying, so that's good. I was going to say that whole portion of, what your audience wants. I always like to tell people, before you go and just directly sell to people, people want to build trust with you. They want to know that you care about them, what they want, what their needs are. I always tell people, when we're putting campaigns and things together, give information, give tips. whether it's the email or social media. Give people something so that they know that you care, and you and then sell to them. Because of course it's easy to just buy this, do this, I have this, but you want to build up to that and then sell to them. And then the last thing that I was going to add, in terms of just digital marketing. So this whole Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp shutdown taught us that there are other social medias out there too. A little joke that I said, and so this maybe is not really funny, but for the
I'll
first,
laugh, Daphne.
I'm not a big Twitter person, and I haven't tweeted since 2017. But that day, it drove me to go log into Twitter. I logged into Twitter, like I'm on TikTok. Like now, I'm getting my clients get on TikTok. There are other social media platforms on there. Although I always tell my clients, it's not that you need to just go get on every social media platform there is, because your audience might not be there. And maybe you can try that, but there are other places besides those, the ones that went down. So look at other things to see maybe if it is a good fit for you, or if your audience is there. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I was like, let me just go jump over here on Twitter, because me personally, for my business, that I didn't choose that as my audience, or thought that my audience was there. But I was like, I had a personal, so I said I'm forced to use Twitter and TikTok today. So
Daphne, I had to reset my Twitter password because it had been so long. But I saw one of the Facebook executives, that's how they announced that they were down, was on Twitter, which just let that sink in for a minute. So I mean, our audience is different places. We haven't even talked about LinkedIn, which even for businesses is a fantastic platform that I want to throw out there. And then Ashley and Chrissy, I'm going to let y'all back clean up.
One of the things that I started doing right away with the donut shop was, if you can do this with your product, is we have no waste. So at the end of the day, I'll get it out eventually. When we have donuts left over, we donate them, and I use that as my few minutes of just connecting and interacting with other business owners and employees of those businesses. So I'll drop them off somewhere on my way home, or before I'm going to my next thing for the day, and just using that as an opportunity to connect with people, let them know we're here. They even get a little bit of our product, so it's a win-win when you have donuts too.
Oh yeah. We don't all have donuts, but think about the things that you do have. We all have something.
Mm-hmm.
We all have these different nuggets. And while there's some of the content that we do at the chamber that's available only to members, or you've got to register for, or different things like that, having those nuggets, Ashley, those things to help build the community and share. That's why we created Robins to Go, was to just be a resource and position ourselves as a catalyst for communication and being a conveyor of what's happening. And it blew up in the most positive of ways, and we never could have imagined or anticipated that kind of response. So you never know what that one small action can turn into a real big win, not just for you, but for all the people that are touched by it. And then Chrissy is back with us.
Yeah, sorry. My computer decided it was tired and it wanted to restart. So, but thank you. I'll wrap it up with the PR side of that. And again, everything that they're saying is perfectly aligned of, when you're thinking marketing, you're thinking, how are we convincing you to buy? And when you're thinking PR, hey, we really want to buy from you because we love you. And Ashley just put the icing on the donut, so to speak, because she said, I donate that. Well, guess what? The people that she donates those donuts to, they probably have social platforms, and they're like, hey, thanks, Benny Dixie Donuts. We love you. Free donuts, right? And that is the thing that's cross-pollinating, right? You're using your brand to interface with the philanthropic interests of those others. So let's say you made dog donuts and you dropped them off at the Humane Society, and then they tweeted that to everybody. We love Benny Dixie Donuts, right? And you've just, everybody in their audience now knows that Ashley with Minnie Dixie dropped off all these great dog donuts. I get credit for that idea, Ashley, if you do that. But so just leveraging what you have in your business to help, and part of that is get out of your space. Nick said it perfectly earlier. Get out of your headspace, get out of your business, and take the more strategic look at, your community and where you plug into that community and the value that you can bring. And if I could say one last thing, April, it drives me batty when I go to a website and I have to search for the phone number. Put the daggum phone number at the top of your page, please.
Yes.
It is so hard to dig for a phone number, and that is all.
100%. Well, panelists, thank you guys so much. I swear, with the ones of you that are on here, I could talk to y'all forever and listen to you. And I hope that all of you watching have taken something away. And in doing so, we're going to make sure to drop the links for all of the businesses representative in the comments below, including the chambers. If you like the content today, give us a good review, give us a like, give us a thumbs up on social media, on Google, on all the platforms, and tell your friends. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. This video and all of the future content that we create will be housed there. And we're so excited to be able to share this valuable resource, but we could not do it without our members. I want to thank every one of these panelists is a member of the Robbins Regional Chamber. And we talk about value add and that carrot and that incentive, Daphne. Chamber member businesses receive discounts on website products. They receive a 25% discount on Constant Contact, which is a fantastic email marketing solution that we didn't even talk about. They'll get all access to our small business marketing session with Google. So if you're not a chamber member and you need to be, or you own a business, you need to give Aurelie a call. Our phone number is 922-8585, or you can connect with us on any of our social media platforms or our website. Guys, that's all the time we have today. Thank you to our panelists for being amazing. I hope you guys had as much fun and got as much value out of this as I did. I want to thank Tiffany, who is producing this broadcast today. She's in the background making the magic of all the different sliding parts. We're going to see you guys on the upside where you're going to get to watch my pre-show video. So go over to Robbins to Go. If you're not already a member, you do have to answer questions to join, but we want to see you there as we engage and support our local businesses each and every day. Y'all have a great one. Thanks.